Hi YouTube, hope everyone's having a nice day. I am, mostly. So today I'd like to continue with my new series about talking about Goa Trance music. I want to talk about something that made a pretty big impression on me. Before I start, in the last video, the Spangle video, I'd like to apologize for the loud music. There was also a thunderstorm, and I live across the street from the airport, so today and possibly from now on I may or may not have background music, but today I won't, just so that you can hear me and stuff. So, alright, so we'll talk about something that just, like I said, made a major impression on me upon hearing for the first time something that opened my eyes in a big way and pretty much just jarred my brain in a manner which I never have really been moved by music since. Something that's not exactly Goa Trance either. You know, it was released on a Goa label, but wasn't exactly, in my opinion, isn't really like Goa. Did not like definitive Goa anyway. And not technically psychedelic trance in the traditional sense either. Like, I guess it's sort of a little bit of both. But here's somebody who does their own thing and does it very well, and really only did it pretty much for this one album and single. And who am I talking about? I am talking about Sandman. The Sandman album, the Witchcraft album. Not necessarily Goa, not necessarily Psy, but something completely original and different, and man is this shit dark. I mean, released on Matsuri Productions, which was known for its like deeper, darker, it was the deeper, darker one of the labels, you know, like around the same time I'd say maybe like Flying Rhino was the other one that was comparable in terms of darkness. Matsuri really took the dark and brought it into the light, so to speak. This came out in 1998. Before we had the single, we had the Natural Born Killer single on Tip. Now, this was the first Sandman I ever heard, was this. And I will not, how do I put this? I basically soiled myself when I heard this for the first time. This track, Natural Born Killer, if you haven't heard it, it's actually on my channel. Go and listen to this, and you'll be like, what in the hell is this? You know, and that's what I said when I heard it for the first time too. This is just unbelievable. Now it is and it's not like the album. This is at least Natural Born Killer is anyway. It's way more driving and kind of like, I wouldn't necessarily say like the Party Goa sound, not like Green Nuns or something like that, you know. But it definitely is one of those more up tempo, faster, like kind of makes you want to get up and groove kind of ones. But it's still weird enough, especially around that breakdown where it turns into psychedelic Pac-Man, that it will force you to go, holy crap, what the hell is going on? Where am I? I mean, I love this. I love this. I love this. Love it. I love this too. And, you know, this for me was another one of those seminal albums. 1998, toward the end of the tenure of Goa Trance, is when this album came out. Psycho Tunes came out in 2000, a couple years later. A different turn for Isaac Levy and for Sandman, but still really good. You know, released on Headshot, really good. Like oddly enough, a more progressive sound for Sandman that worked out. You know, like if Double Dragon did more drugs and was just a lot darker, it would be like it would be like Psychotunes, maybe. But why, why is this not Goa Trance or Psytrance? Well, I mean, it's psychedelic trance, for sure. It's not like Palladian Psytrance or something like that. To me, it's almost like psy-rock trance. I mean, if you listen to the kind of, I'm sure the kind of drum kits that he used to structure his beats, to sequence his beats, they sounded like they came from, rock kits. Not your typical 909 thump, not your typical digital thump, and things like that. These sound like rock kits to me. And that's, really interesting and dark. And you don't hear hardly anybody else do that either, And the actual beats themselves, they sort of echo like a Chris Kilvin UX kind of a thing in terms of the beat repetition and kind of staccato-y thing that goes on sometimes. And I always called it like psy-rock trance. But I mean, to go even further with it, it's not really dancey, you almost want it to be melodic, but it doesn't do that, the synth lines, this doesn't follow your typical verse, chorus, verse thing. The synth lines in this, and also in the single, it's like it gives you just enough to get it going, do something else, give you enough to get it going, do something else, get it enough to get that going. And that's kind of like his structure on top of these rock kit beats, It's just a very deep sound, dark, mysterious, yet simple, too. I mean, it's Sandman, for crying out loud. It's like what if a nightmare was music? It would be like this, pretty much, what if Pac-Man came to eat you? Well, that would be this track, in a bad dream. But a good dream, because I like dreams like that. I mean, the synth lines, they're not traditional synth lines. They're really odd. They're like bubbling and acidy in ways, squelchy. And also, there's some pretty parts, what is it, the Ghost Rider track has I love that track the most, because I was a sucker for that crescendo into some kind of synth line, and Ghost Rider did that great, dark though, just dark as hell. And, there's some mid-tempo tracks on here too that are just really deep. The whole thing, this is one of the deepest things I've heard in my life, and I absolutely love it. Isaac Levy was also known as Resistance Activity, also known as Greenhouse Effect. And I remember going to the record store and listening to Greenhouse Effect and going, this is Sandman? And just being like, wow, the guy, at least for the 2001 album, he toned it way the hell down from anything anywhere near this. Or even the first Greenhouse Effect single in 1996, what was it, Symbiosis or whatever. That one was okay for its time because it's 1996, and progressive Goa Psytrance wasn't invented yet, unless he did it. But at least I know that the 2001 Greenhouse Effect album was just, I didn't buy it, progressive was the thing in the 2000s, that's everybody jumped on the progressive bandwagon. And it didn't do anything for me, and I just was, I was just really disappointed, and I kept going back to this, because I wanted more of this. I wanted more Psychotunes, I wanted more Witchcraft, so, he's still rocking as far as I know. This album, this is just one of those seminal albums. Shockwave, with the crazy samples, people talked about it was that Babylon 5 show from the 90s that everybody ripped on because it was terrible. It was terrible. It was no Deep Space Nine. You want to talk about Star Trek? Let me know. We'll talk about Star Trek. The Ghost Rider track, the Mushroom Symphony track, and then here's another thing, and maybe somebody can clear this up for me. In the credits, it says track 5 with Daniel, and track 6 with Bonzi. So on the vinyl copy, track 5 is Mushroom Symphony and track 6 is Ghostwriter. However, on the CD release, track 6 is Shockwave, or excuse me, track 5 is Shockwave, and track 6 is Nostradamus, with the same track 5 with Daniel, track 6 with Bonzi, and Bonzi, who I assume must be from Growling Mad Scientist. Which, you know, it's not really that important. It's just one of those kind of incongruous mysteries about, like, well, which one is it really, you know? But at any rate, I mean, like, not really dancey, but definitely driving, and definitely nightmarish, and definitely deep, and definitely something else, you know? Even for Matsuri, for at the time, this was, like, completely different. I mean, just like the beats alone make you wanna, you know, really, they just drive it, you know. And I'm telling you, like, listen to it. I swear, he must have used rock kits for his drums. You know, it's just amazing. It worked out so well. Gotta give a little bit of credit to the Starfinder track on the 12-inch. You know, like a Sandman down-tempo track that's not like the mid-tempo ones on the album. When Tip became Tip World, they released a compilation called Tip the Story, and it was a compilation of a lot of their classic stuff, you know, like probably like Total Eclipse, maybe some Green Nuns, probably not, Hallucinogen, you know, like the classic Goa stuff. And then for some reason, Starfinder found its way on Tip the Story. And I'm just going to complain about that quickly because I didn't feel like, okay, well, I mean, Natural Born Killer was released on Tip, so why not put this track on there instead of the B-side? But they put the B-side on it, and, you know, for whatever reason, I guess, maybe, I don't know why, but I just sort of went like, well, it's not I don't know, I think it'd be more of a complete story for Tip the Story if Natural Born Killer was on there instead. But that's all I really have to say about that. I mean, for 1998, this was really fresh, and I mean, Natural Born Killer just blew my head right off my neck. It just was just something else, you know. Not your it's really it's a very unexpected turn of structure, you know. You know, this whole dark, mysterious, nightmarish thing that he did so well for this album. And I mean, one of the most, I mean, I believe this is Alex Gray artwork, but I mean, one of the greatest, probably one of the best album covers that I've seen. And I love this shit too. But I mean, this is just amazing. So I realize this is sort of a shorter video, but I wanted to talk about Sandman, Isaac Levy. So that's what I have to say about that. Comments in the comment bucket below. Hope everybody has a nice day. Stay tuned for more of this.